He traded his guns for love, but he's caught in the crossfire. But it's not to the side.
In today's video I am going to show you how you can fix lag spikes and frame rate drops in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone or Black Ops Cold War, or in both. Note that Call of Duty Warzone is not meant for a low-end PC, it's a really heavy game. And since it's an online game, we have a lot of limitations, because there are only a limited number of tweaks possible. GTA 5 was an offline game, we modified the files, decreased the load scale, and made it playable, and CSGO itself wasn't really a heavy game at the first place. Even tweaking a little bit just helped a lot of people. But unlike GTA 5 and CSGO, Call of Duty Warzone is a heavy game at first place, and it can only be playable online. And I am sure you already know that. Modifying files of an online game is almost impossible at the first place because they are encrypted, and even if you manage to modify, you will probably get banned. This video is only for those who already have this game installed on their computer and are facing frame rate issues. Does not matter how bad your frame rate is in your situation, I would 100% recommend you to follow my steps, because as I said, doing something is better than doing nothing. Of course, if your game doesn't even start, I can't make it playable. However, if your game is unplayable by a few frames, I could help you out. But do not expect much of a performance boost. Now don't bombard the comments with whether it will work on this PC or that questions. If you have a low-end PC, and you don't have Call of Duty installed, I would not recommend you to download this 185GB game. Unless you are retarded. So before we get started, if it's your first time watching my video, then do not forget to subscribe. Share this video to support the channel. And like the video if you like to do so. So now let's get started. First things first, we are going to change the Call of Duty launcher settings so that it can perform on its best. Simply follow what I do. Go to the folder where you have installed the game. Here you will find two exe files. Right-click and go to its properties. And into compatibility. Checkmark disable full screen optimizations and run this program with admin rights. Click on change high DPI settings and checkmark and make sure it's on application. Click OK and apply. Now run the compatibility troubleshooter. This will set the best compatibility mode suited. Click on Try Recommended Settings and close the troubleshooter. Make sure you do the same thing with both the exe files. Next step is only for NVIDIA users, so if you are not one of them, you can skip to the following timestamp. Right-click on your desktop and open NVIDIA Control Panel. Click on Adjust Image Settings. Checkmark Use My Preference emphasizing and slide the bar on direction of performance, and apply. Next click on Manage 3D Settings, and now click on Program Settings. Click on Add, and now select Call of Duty Modern Warfare. First set anisotropic filtering to off. Anti-aliasing gamma correction off as well. Power management mode set this to prefer maximum performance. Set vertical sync to off. Hit apply and you are done. Next step is to turn off game mode and game bar. Game mode has a lot of issues which causes games to have frame rate issues. Turning it off will help more than leaving it enabled. Search game mode settings from start menu and simply turn it off. Now search game bar settings from start menu and simply turn it off as well. Next step is to turn on hardware acceleration. To do this, right-click on your desktop and now open Display Settings, Graphics Settings, and turn on Hardware Acceleration from here. You might need to restart your PC to save the changes, but before that, click Browse over here. Now go to the location where your game is installed. And now you need to select the launcher. Click on Options and make sure it's on High Performance, if it's not, and select the one and simply save. Next step is to add some commands to the Blizzard launcher. To do this, click over here and go to Settings, Game Settings, and now checkmark Additional Command Arguments. Now here type full screen space -D3 D11. Click on Done and you are good to go. Next, disable apps running in background. Click on Start menu and search for background apps. And simply turn this thing off. Next step is to launch the game using Razer Cortex. It's a free software that optimizes games to run after launching the game using Razer Cortex. We are now ready to do the in-game settings and stuff, which might help. First of all, if you have a monitor which has a refresh rate higher than that of 60 Hz, I recommend you to lower it down to 60 Hz. Because unless your FPS is equal to that of your refresh rate, it results in consistent frame rate and might cause minor stutters, which you wanna avoid. Next, set render resolution to 66. It's better to lower the render scale instead of resolution. Unless you don't play the Battle Royale mode. Because if you lower your resolution you might have a hard time spotting enemies. Of course render scale does the same thing, but still, lowering the resolution might also affect your sensitivity. Make sure you have aspect ratio set to automatic if it's on 16:9 and so on. Sync every frame must be disabled. Custom frame limit, custom. Just in case your PC has minor frame rate issues, limit FPS in all to 3 to 60 FPS. If it has a lot of frame rate issue, set all 3 of those to 30 instead of 60 and so. This will give you consistent frame rate, instead of buffered FPS. All the NVIDIA stuff must be disabled. Streaming quality should be on low. Texture resolution must be on very low. Texture filter can be set to low or normal. It doesn't really matter. Particle quality must be set to low. Bullet impacts doesn't matter. Turn it off if you have insufficient RAM. Tessellation must be disabled. Texture streaming disabled. Anything related to shadows must be set to low or disabled because it's a system-heavy setting. Particle lighting doesn't matter, but I would suggest to set it to normal. Ray tracing of course disabled. Ambient occlusion must be disabled. Screen space reflection doesn't matter, unless you have a lower-end CPU. So set it to whatever is suitable for you. Anti-aliasing must be disabled, and remaining all the settings depends on your preference, because it doesn't affect game's performance, so feel free to set it to whatever you like to. Next, go to General and set your field of view to lowest as possible, which is 60. Because higher your field of view is, the more the horsepower you need. This is not an optional setting, it's a must-to-do setting if you want to improve FPS at all cost. After that, click over here and choose Battle Royale Practice. This will start up a Battle Royale match where there are only bots. You will not find any real players. It's a great way to check whether your frame rate is fine. Before hopping into a real Battle Royale server, it's better to do this, because first of all, these bots are noobs, and you can take your time without getting frustrated. So, if your FPS is fine now, you can hop into a real server. So guys, hope you understand. We tried to suck up as much FPS as possible, and even after this, if your FPS is not fine,